Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the 2016 commencement ceremony for the College of Letters, Arts, and Social Sciences. Please begin the professional. The mace bearer today is Dr. Mario Guerrero, Professor of Political Science and recipient of the Outstanding Faculty Advisor Award. Carrying the college banner is the valedictorian and outstanding graduating senior of the college, Miss Audrey Aday. Please welcome the students and faculty of the Department of Communication. Please welcome the students and faculty of the Department of Economics. Please welcome the students and faculty of the Department of English and Foreign Languages. Please welcome the students and faculty of the Department of Geography and Anthropology. Please welcome the students and faculty of the Department of History. Please welcome the students and faculty of the Department of Music. Please welcome the students and faculty of the Department of Philosophy. Please welcome the students and faculty of the Department of Political Science. Yeah. Please welcome the students and faculty of the Department of Psychology and Sociology. Welcome the students and faculty of the Department of Theater and New Dance. please welcome the Platform Party and President Coley.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the 2016 commencement ceremony for the College of Letters, Arts, and Social Sciences. Before we proceed, please rise and join me in welcoming Ms. Jordan Phillips from the Department of Music, who will sing the national anthem.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets' red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say, does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
Thank you, Ms. Phillips, for that lovely rendition. Please be seated, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Sharon Hillis, Dean of the College of Letters, Arts, and Social Sciences. It is my privilege and honor to preside over the 2016 commencement exercises of the College of Letters, Arts, and Social Sciences. On behalf of the faculty, staff, and students of the college, I offer congratulations to our graduates and a special welcome to their families and friends who join us today. Les brindo felicitaciones a los que se gradúan hoy en una bienvenida muy especial a sus familias y amistades que nos honoran con su presencia y con su permiso. Me gustaría decir unas palabras a nuestros amigos que hablan mandarín. 大家好，恭喜毕业。And now it gives me great pleasure to introduce you to the distinguished members of the Platform Party. I ask that they stand as I read their names, but please hold your applause until they have all been introduced. Dr. Richard Callan, Chair of the Department of Communication. Dr. David Copland, Academic Senate Executive Committee member. Mr. John McGuthrie, Vice President for Information Technology and CIO. Ms. Kathleen Street, Acting Vice President for Student Affairs. Dr. Dale Turner, Chair of the Department of Philosophy. Dr. Bernardo Solano, Chair of the Department of Theater and New Dance. Dr. Janine Revere, Interim Chair of the Department of Music. Dr. Michael Rabel, Chair of the Department of Geography and Anthropology. Dr. Bruce Brown, Chair of the Department of Economics. Ms. Carly Owens, Gift Representative. Dr. Iris Levine, Interim Associate Dean of Class. Dr. Sarah Garber, Interim Associate Dean of Class. Dr. Lilian Fucaloro, Chair of the Department of English and Foreign Languages. Dr. Jill Hargis, Chair of the Department of Political Science. Dr. Eileen Wallace, Chair of the Department of History. Dr. David Horner, Chair of the Department of Psychology and Sociology. Dr. Mario Guerrero, Outstanding Advisor and Mace Bearer. Ms. Audrey Ade, Valedictorian and Julian McFeed Award recipient. Dr. Jeffrey Mio, Provost Award recipient. Mr. Stephen Stepanek, faculty member of the CSU Board of Trustees. Mr. Lou Monveld, chair of the CSU Board of Trustees. Dr. Sylvia Alba, Provost and Vice President for Academic Affairs. Dr. Soraya Coley, President of the California Polytechnic University, Pomona. And special guests this afternoon, the audience are Mr. Ron Coley, Vice Chancellor for Business and Administrative Services at UCR and husband to President Coley, and Dr. J. Michael Ortiz, President Emeritus of Cal Poly Pomona, and his wife, Betty Ortiz. Please welcome them all. Thank you all very much. It is with great pleasure that I now call to the podium someone who is very popular around here and who, I dare say, is known to every single person on this campus. She is someone of whom we are all very proud, who has captured both our hearts and our imaginations, Cal Poly Pomona's sixth president, Dr. Soraya Coley.
Thank you so much, Dean Hellis. Before I give my remarks, I want to take a moment to thank our CSU Board Chair, Lou Monville, and our CSU Faculty Trustee, Steve Stepanovic, for joining us this afternoon. And I especially want to thank Chair Monville for his outstanding service to the CSU system and his unwavering commitment to access and the success of CSU students. Chair Monville will be stepping down, and we wish him and his family the very best. And may he know that because of his leadership of the largest higher education system in the country, both the state of California and the nation has benefited. Thank you, Chair Monville. I also want to acknowledge President Emeritus Michael Ortiz and his wife, Betty. Thank you so much for joining us this afternoon. Hello, class of 2016. On behalf of our outstanding faculty and staff, I am honored to stand before you to applaud your accomplishments and relay our pride in you. Getting to this milestone was not easy, but you persisted, and here you are today. I am sure you would acknowledge that you did not reach this milestone on your own. Graduates, please take a moment to acknowledge those individuals here who are in attendance who supported you on this journey with a round of applause. There are other supporters whose names you may not know, such as our alumni who have invested in future students through scholarships and gifts. We hope that you too will one day decide to pay it forward. And as you move into the next phase of your life's journey, let me share several essential lessons that I've learned. The first is to hold high expectations for yourself. As humans, we respond to expectations. If you have low expectations, you will behave in ways that don't matter. Set the bar high and exercise the discipline that is needed to achieve success. The second is take action. Don't let a fear of failure inhibit you. Unless actions are taken in the direction of your expectations, you will not be successful. The third is persistence. Success isn't always easy or even guaranteed. Know that with every failure, there are lessons. Learn from them and move forward. The fourth is maintaining options. Achieving a degree opens up possibilities. Look for opportunities to further your growth and adapt to the changes that will occur during your lifetime. Finally, discover your purpose. Why are you here? Your talents and gifts are still developing. Be open to new experiences and pursue areas that align with your curiosity and your passion. Some of you may already know or have a clear path forward. For others, it may take longer, but recognize that you're always in the act of creating and choosing. Seek to discover and let unfold the greatness that lies within each of you. Be bold in your pursuit. Strive to be your best, authentic self. In closing, I'd like to extract passages from a piece written by Dennis Kimbrough. May you develop a burning desire that is required of all achievement. May you stand up for the rights of others against the undesirable influence and threats of enemies. May you save your money so that you could pay your way in the world and yet be generous to those in need. May you forgive and forget those that may have harmed you. May you accept full responsibilities for the successes as well as the failures in your life. May you know that the greatest challenge is understanding. That the greatest mistake is conformity. The greatest strength is faith. The greatest weakness is pride. The greatest day is today. The greatest word is thanks. The greatest among us is whoever serves. The greatest message is hope. And the greatest of these is love and empathy. Congratulations, class of 2016. We're so very proud of you.
Thank you, President Coley. It is now my pleasure to introduce Mr. Lou Monville, Chair of the Board of Trustees of the California State University. We're happy to have you with us, Mr. Monville.
Thank you, Dean Hillis. It's a pleasure for me to be here today with my colleague, Stephen Stepanek, and to bring greetings to all of you from the California State University. I extend congratulations to all of the graduates of the College of Arts, Letters, Arts, and Social Sciences. Congratulations, class of 2016. As citizens and future alumni of the California State University, I encourage all of you to continue support of Cal Poly Pomona and its mission to help keep the doors of opportunity open to those students who follow in your footsteps. You will soon learn the real benefits of a California State University degree as you go into the workforce that depends so greatly on the more than 100,000 well-prepared CSU graduates that will become their employees this year. Be proud that you are joining the class of 2016, CSU alums as you cross this stage. As a CSU graduate and a member of your community, continue to support the CSU by helping those in need and letting them know how to get to college. Show them the road ahead and how earning a college degree can be the most important step in a brighter future. Finally, as a graduate of the CSU, be an ambassador for our system. Let your friends, colleagues, legislators, and community know how important the CSU has been to you and how they can join you in supporting the California State University. Again, congratulations, class of 2016. The newest Bronco alums, and well wishes to a bright future. Congratulations.
Thank you, Mr. Monville. Now I would like to introduce the senior class representative, Ms. Carly Owens, who will present the senior class gift to President Coley.
President Coley, Dean Hillis, distinguished guests, and fellow members of the class of 2016. Every year, the graduating class leaves behind something for the campus, a gift to the future generations of Broncos. We want to leave the university a better place than it was when we first got here. The tradition succeeds every year because of another Cal Poly Pomona tradition, philanthropy. The senior class gift is entirely funded by the class of 2016. Take a look around you and look for the senior class gift pin. Thank you to those who It's really nerve-wracking being up here, guys. All right, so we believe in Cal Poly Pomona, and we want to invest in the future of our university. This year, the senior class gift is adding printing stations around the campus to keep students better connected. In addition, it will help alleviate the run from the library to Building 1 in that 5-minute span that I'm sure we've all done. Fellow donors, thank you for your generous spirit. President Coley, I'm honored to present this gift of the class of 2016.
Thank you so much, Carly, and thank you, class of 2016. On behalf of future students, we thank you for your generosity. Thank you so much.
At this time, it is my privilege to present the Julian A. McPhee Award for Student Election. This is an award that the university has given since 2002 in honor of Julian McPhee, who was the founding president of both Cal Poly Pomona and Cal Poly San Luis Obispo. It honors a current graduating senior who exhibits excellence in his or her academic endeavors. This year, the Julian A. McPhee Award goes to the outstanding graduating senior and valedictorian of the College of Letters, Arts, and Social Sciences, Miss Audrey Aday. Miss Aday, please join us. Turn this way, I'll do this, and then you can go right this way. Okay.
Good afternoon, esteemed faculty, administration, friends, and families. It's an honor to be standing before you today, and it is with great pleasure that I congratulate my fellow graduates in this incredible accomplishment. I know for many of us, the journey that led up to this day was not easy. Cal Poly Pomona is often praised and recognized for its commitment to serving underrepresented students. I myself am one of the countless students that has benefited from Cal Poly's dedication to providing students from all backgrounds with the opportunity to learn. When I graduated high school, I thought I had everything figured out, as most teenagers do. I attended a UC for 1 year, but ended up dropping out due to my financial circumstance. I was devastated. Going to college had always been my dream, and to feel that it was no longer a possibility was heartbreaking. However, after landing a part-time job at my local fast food restaurant, I was able to put myself through community college and transfer to Cal Poly Pomona. From the first week of classes, I knew this is where I needed to be. It was in my first year at Cal Poly that I met the professors, friends, and mentors that truly inspired and supported me every step of the way. And who could forget our wonderful families who also supported us every step of the way. I can say without doubt I would not be here without these amazing individuals. If I had to leave you with just one piece of advice, it would be this. Never let an obstacle be an obstacle, but have the resilience and the grit to go on and to overcome it. Because I believe that our dedication and our perseverance is truly what sets Cal Poly Pomona apart from everyone else. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Aday. It is with great pleasure that I now introduce the university's Chief Academic Officer. In the short time that she has been here, she has already had a profound impact on the university and won the affection, admiration, and respect of us all. The Provost and Vice President of Academic Affairs, Dr. Sylvia Alva.
Thank you, Dean Hillis. With the generous support of President Coley, the university continues to recognize the accomplishments of our faculty with the Provost Award for Excellence. These awards are given in the areas of teaching, service, and scholarly and creative activity. They acknowledge the central role of the faculty in making Cal Poly Pomona the phenomenal place that it is. Awardees are chosen in a rigorous process and must meet the very highest standards of excellence in their fields. It is with great pleasure to announce that the 2016 Provost Award for Excellence in Service goes to Dr. Jeffrey Meal, Professor of Psychology in the College of Letters, Arts, and Social Sciences. Dr. Meal is the director of the master's program in the Department of Psychology. He serves as chair of the Reappointment, Tenure, and Promotion Committee and on various faculty search committees. Dr. Meal also mentors junior faculty and volunteers countless hours in supervising them. As a junior faculty member notes, Almost as soon as I completed my work to become a clinical psychologist, Dr. Mio began supervising a new junior colleague. This is a testament to Dr. Mio's ethos of lifting up the next generation of psychologists and preparing them for success. Dr. Mio also serves on numerous boards in his field, including the American Psychological Association, and is a mentor for the Minority Fellowship Program Psychology Summer Institute since 2008. And he's been actively engaged with the Asian American Psychological Association. Professor Mio tirelessly works for the equitable and unbiased treatment of Asian Americans in the media through his work with Media Action Network for Asian Americans since 2004, just to name a few. It is an honor and a privilege to introduce to you the 2016 Provost Award winner for Excellence in Service, Professor Jeffrey Mio. Congratulations. Hold on. Let's take a picture.
Thank you, Provost Alva. I would like to thank the selection committee for their work. I know that while it is fun to be able to award your colleagues, awarding some meaning not being able to award others. And quite often, the decisions can be difficult. As for my award for service, I blame my mother, who's sitting right over here. My mother epitomized the phrase, "If you want something done, ask a busy person." When I was young, she was active in the PTA, our church, and taking my siblings and me to various events. She even became the den mother when I was a Cub Scout. When she was doing various activities in the Japanese American community when I was 3 and 4, I followed her around. My community nickname was my mother's shadow, so I learned from the best. Finally, I'd like to acknowledge that I am benefiting from sexism. Women are often asked to do a lot of service, and I kind of stick out in my department. In fact, my female colleagues have named me an honorary woman because of the activities in which I am involved. I'm looking forward to some of my female colleagues to receive this award, as one of them actually has preceding me. Finally, what I'd like to do is acknowledge that, like all of the rest of you, I was awakened this morning to the horrible news of the shootings in Florida, and perhaps my next area of service will be to try to eliminate gun violence in this country. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Mio. It's very difficult to make it through college without the help of a really good faculty advisor. We pride ourselves in this college on having excellent faculty advisors who are knowledgeable, caring, and approachable. Please join me in acknowledging the faculty advisors, students selected as this year the best of the best. This year's outstanding faculty advisor in the College of Letters, Arts, and Social Sciences, Mace Bearer from the Department of Political Science, Dr. Mario Guerrero.
No. No, you can't do that. No, you can't add this class. No, I'm not offering extra credit. As you probably already come to see, life can be an astounding series of no's. But today's a powerful, resounding yes. Yes, you can. Yes, you've overcome the odds. Yes, you've graduated. But in the words of one of the world's greatest philosophers, Rocky Balboa, the world ain't all sunshine and rainbows. It is a very mean and nasty place. And I don't care how tough you are, it will beat you to your knees and will keep you there permanently if you let it. If you let it. And if there's one thing that I know about our students, is that you're all fighters. Never lose the fight, never lose the drive, be the champions that life has shaped you to be. Congratulations, class of 2016.
Thank you, Dr. Guerrero. I would now like to call on the Provost and Vice President of Academic Affairs, Dr. Sylvia Alva, to present the candidates for the master's degree. Provost Alva?
Thank you, Dean Hillis. Will the candidates for the Masters of Science in Psychology, the Masters of Science in Economics, the Masters of Arts in English, and the Masters of Arts in History, and the Masters of Public Administration, please rise. President Coley, I present to you the candidates for the Master of Science in Psychology, the Master of Science in Economics, the Master of Arts in English, the Master of Arts in History, and the Masters in Public Administration. These candidates have completed the requirements for the master's degree as prescribed by the state of California and the trustees of the California State University, and they have been recommended by the faculty of California State Polytechnic University, Pomona. President Coley.
Candidates for the master's degree, you've heard the recommendation of the faculty of California State Polytechnic University, Pomona. By the authority vested in me as president, I confer upon you the degree of Masters of Science in Psychology, the Masters of Science in Economics, the Masters of Arts in English, the Masters of Arts in History, and the Masters of Public Administration, with all the rights, honors, and responsibilities appertaining thereto. Congratulations. Please be seated until you're directed to the stage.
Okay, here come the directions. Will the graduate coordinators and chairs who will be hooding the candidates from Economics and Psychology please come to the ramp on my left? And will the graduate coordinators and chairs who will be hooding the candidates from History, English, and Public Administration please come to the ramp on my right? Will the candidates for the master's degrees please rise and follow the directions of the ushers with your hood folded over your left arm? Stop at the reader table and then proceed to the platform to be hooded by your department's graduate coordinator and to receive recognition from President Coley and Provost Alva. Then proceed down the center ramp and back to your seat as directed by the ushers. We will begin with economics to my left and history on my right.
We will now begin the awarding degree Master of Arts in English. Claire E. Rodriguez.
We will now begin the awarding of the degree of Master of Science in Economics. Zachary Thomas Burkert.
Aaron James Colrick.
Rodney Edsel Flores.
Stacy Elizabeth Resnischek.
This completes the awarding of the degree of Master of Science in Economics. We will now concurrently begin the awarding of the degree of Master of Arts in History. Elliot Christopher Stone.
Andrew Douglas Cochran. Nicholas Adam Barkowitz. Brian Charles Snodgrass. Daniel Jacob Barkley.
Daniel Jude Renard.
David Allen Richards.
Stephen A. Baima.
Natalie S. Rajasingha.
Jordan Thomas Thompson.
Suzanne Renee Lara.
Jennifer Rose Henley.
Edward T. Tay.
Jenna Marie Ariola Salas, President's Council Scholar.
Emma Pacheco.
Tanya Concepcion Rayfield.
Rebecca Nicole Bowers.
This completes the awarding of the degree of Master of Arts in History. We will now begin the awarding of the degree of Master of Science in Psychology. Nolan Odell Butler.
Amanda Lee Thomason, President Council Scholar.
Christine Renee Butler.
Lauren Kelly Collins.
Karina Laurel Biddle.
Sarah Elizabeth Hirano.
Hope Virginia Alvazar.
Stephen Edward Camacho.
Vanessa Davila.
Jorge Larios.
Melody Joy LeBaron.
Andrea Marie Edwards.
Ayelet Leticia Ramirez. Leslie Santana. Patrick Suyan Summers. Stephanie Rose Eckstein. Monica Youssef. Stephanie Lynn Bodeman. Anna Tang. Larissa Bertos. This completes the awarding of the degree of Master of Science in Psychology.
This also completes the awarding degree of Master of Arts in English. We will now begin the awarding degree Master of Public Administration. May Win 2. Sarah C. Larrabee. Maha Alobaid. Nicholas Noboro Tosaya. Michael Biaggi. Diana Lupercio. Rebecca Rivas. Jonathan Jamshid Raft. Guillermo Ernesto Alvarez. Christopher Angel Tablante. Christine Nicole Camacho. Melissa Boone. And this completes the awarding degree Master of Public Administration.
Will the baccalaureate degree candidates please rise? President Colley, I present to you the candidates for the degree of Bachelor of Arts and candidates for the degree of Bachelor of Science from the College of Letters, Arts, and Social Sciences. These candidates have completed the requirements for the bachelor's degree as prescribed by the state of California and the trustees of the California State University, and they've been recommended for their degree by the faculty of the California State Polytechnic University, Pomona.
Candidates for the baccalaureate degree, you've heard the recommendation of the faculty of California State Polytechnic University, Pomona. By the authority vested in me as president, I confer upon you the degree of Bachelor of Arts and Bachelor of Science with all the rights, honors, and responsibilities appertaining thereto. In academic tradition, the student who has not yet earned a degree wears the tassel on the mortarboard on the right side. When the degree is conferred, the scholar moves the tassel to the left and joins a select company. In recognition of your new status, will all the recipients of the baccalaureate degree move the tassel to the left? Congratulations. Please be seated.
Class of 2016, you are commended for your effort and accomplishments. Please follow the directions of the ushers to the stage. Present your name card to the reader, then step forward. After you receive your diploma cover, exit down the center ramp and return to your seating area, following the directions of the ushers. Please remain in your seats until the conclusion of this ceremony. We will begin with the Department of Communication.
Melik Habak, summa cum laude, Kellogg Scholar.
Lauren Elizabeth Corona.
Zachary Louis Palomino.
Marcela Munoz.
Dominique Shanice Brown.
Sarah Michelle Cheyenne.
Sammy Mack.
Corey Averill.
Eric Senabandit.
Hannah Mary Ann Leohani Lair.
Laura Elizabeth Flores.
Samantha Eileen Kramer, magna cum laude.
Alma Lisette Diaz Zacarias.
Zoe Herrera.
Christian Gonzalez Diaz.
Tyler Woods.
Colby Marie Rusev.
Jada Blackwell.
Leslie Corcoran.
Elizabeth Ann Mason.
Carly Jo Owens, magna cum laude, President's Council Scholar.
Courtney Noel Rostenbach.
Patricia Reyes.
Jack Gulasarian.
Andrew Jin.
Andrew Martin Garcia.
Jessica Wang.
Matthew James Saunders.
Catherine Mansares Byram.
Cindy Keogh.
Winnie Ma.
Kristen Suling Kwan.
Christine Garcia.
Carlos E. Chavez.
Melina Orantes.
Vicky Wing Lai.
Gregory Nicholas Juvenal.
Stephanie Michelle Hernandez.
Bryce Willis.
Rachel Suh.
Sung Un Choi.
Natalie Chung Lam So.
Nicole Strozinski.
Diane Ojeda.
Andrea Gabrielle Donley.
Calais Souza.
Courtney Alexandria Lynn.
Cynthia Marie Garcia.
Jacqueline Estrada.
Kristen Lee Ogden.
Kristen Gail Suhu.
Michael Philip Linger.
Lori Melissa Delgado.
Daniel Robert Pitts.
Shant Kebabjan.
Julia Ann Rozecki.
Camille Suzanne Torres.
Justin Randall Kiddo.
Don Tien Pham.
Mackenzie Ling English.
Alexa Catherine Saturday.
Megan Diane Lawback.
Isabella Rose Hackerman.
Cynthia Nicole Reyes. Tiffany Ann Cruz.
Jacqueline Boratinsky.
Michelle Emiko Araki.
Yulia Yakimishin.
Nikki Marie Rowan.
Bryce Baker.
Lindsay Renee Munson.
Karina Ultreras. Isabel Torres.
Jose Israel Gonzalez.
Jeline Benawa Abutin, magna cum laude.
Devin Duarte.
Reynaldo Dueñas.
Lauren Guerrero.
Alan Moon.
Alethea Hong Chan.
Suji Yeya.
Christopher Mahler.
Esther Ha.
Diana Castillon.
Garrett Kramer, cum laude.
Hazel Leticia Lopez.
Francisco Javier Chavoya.
Morgan Starr Smith.
Simon Joseph Bakaran.
David Subam Sa.
Kazia Jen Arnold.
Natalie Contreras.
Hillary Rose Villano.
Natalia Leolena Achicaro.
Michelle Elizabeth Cassidy, magna cum laude.
Jenna Marie Weir.
Monique Sherelle Quarles.
Karina Moreno.
Laura Nuno.
Allison Olivier.
Bianca Piscina.
Elizabeth Osuna.
Stephanie Werner.
Christina Nguyen.
Nicole Taylor Hausch.
Carla Angulo.
Madison Lynn DeMarquez.
Jasmine Beller, cum laude.
Shelby Lyndon Willard.
Danielle Therese Owijan.
Gabriela Nicole Deming.
Natalie Marie Bedoya.
Julia Justine Talavera.
Aaron Thomas Arroyo.
Victoria Danielle Marie Kernan.
Evan Alexander Hicks.
Tagui Martirosian.
Adrian Batulan Taganan, cum laude.
Christopher Galvan.
Claire's Loria Mendania.
Aaron Paul Salazar, cum laude.
Jairo Pineda Gonzalez.
Christian Cataldo.
Sarah Lamwala.
Andrew Isaac Gordo.
Julian Herrera Jr.
Karen Villasenor.
Jane Pojawa, cum laude.
Calvin Melo.
Elaine Nicole DeLeon.
Aimee Aguilar.
Brandon Muratala. Lauren Nguyen. Catherine Marie Dia. Eduardo Jose Castaneda. Michael Gabriel Torres. And this completes the awarding of the degree Bachelor of Science in Communication. We will now begin the awarding of the degree Bachelor of Science in Economics. Eduardo Barrera.
Manuel Roberto Caus.
Kyle Shane Colangelo, summa cum laude.
Alberto Ricardo Diaz.
Joshua Brendan Abad.
Nat Niel Alua.
Samantha Josephine Kitso.
Travis M. Lowe.
Amber Ochoa.
Sine Desai.
Patsy Diaz De Leon.
Samir Alode.
Amy K. Vong, magna cum laude.
Gregory Osborne.
Megan Elizabeth Bruins.
Juan Chi.
Elisa Zaragoza.
John Amy.
Masato Kevin Usian.
Alec Jaltarosian.
Brian Fu. Alexander Kwok King.
Whitecheng Miller.
Cesar Leonardo Ramirez.
Chad Preston Keating.
Francis J. Scully. Jonathan Ng. Jose Valdez. Andy Hong. Diana Adele Javon. Eric Christopher Espinoza, summa cum laude. And this completes the awarding the degree Bachelor of Science in Economics. We will now begin the awarding degree for Bachelor of Arts in English and Foreign Languages. Myra Blancas.
William Zamora Paja.
Karen Kulumatsi.
Emily Christine Smith, summa cum laude.
Joanne Michelle Forgy.
Nicholas Daniel Carday.
Kaylee Christensen. Emily Rock, summa cum laude.
Neil Gravino.
Stephanie Jeanette Munoz. Patricia Julia Reyes, magna cum laude.
Kenny Ryan Cameron.
Jeremy Lance Bynum, magna cum laude.
Ivan Mateo.
Erica Rodriguez Payan.
Christina Michelle Lopez.
Rachel Lynn Walker. Ramon Yanez Jr.
Brittany Ann Kemp, magna cum laude, McNair Scholar.
Tammy Alexis Davis.
Lauren Elizabeth White.
Bonnie Yang.
Teresa Mendez, magna cum laude.
Tyler Gutierrez.
Christine Ann Reuter.
Kristen Michelle Pringle.
Alexis Letner, summa cum laude.
Louis Galvan.
Grace Letner, cum laude.
Jamie Michelle Buck.
Alyssa Lynn Valdez Beltran.
John Pervez.
Patrick Taylor.
Henny Ashla Assad Wallace.
Alyssa Grace Gillen.
Cheyenne Villanueva.
Armando Gastelum.
Monica Kozan.
Jazz Alexandria Baisden, cum laude.
Jacqueline Melissa Salazar.
Crystal Cassandra Martinez.
Gabriela Sanchez, cum laude.
Alfredo Regosa.
Monica Chires Olivas.
Richard Rosales.
Diana Lizeth Acevedo.
Christopher Robert Jarvis.
Liz Arleth Fernandez.
Kayla Singh.
Galia Alba.
Samantha Gale Ingram.
Vanessa Mendoza.
Fong Nuet Huyen, magna cum laude.
Jessica Curtis.
Megan Leanne Pilker.
Jordan Mollis.
Cassandra Ann Velasco.
Shirley T.
Jose Javier Aldana, magna cum laude.
Julia Ann Hernandez.
Parisa Marzarai.
Sharon Lee.
Tori Rogers.
Lauren Arthur McCoy II. Lisa Marie Paconi.
Haley Stewart.
Yesenia Flores.
Stephanie Lynn Auerbach.
Ludovina Magana.
Julian Menjivar.
Linda Salazar.
Ashley Cheyenne Dixon.
Maria de Los Angeles Espinoza Hernandez.
Christian Dominic Gonzalez.
Jose Flores.
Ivan Rios.
Andrew Rodriguez.
Rachel Jean Bramer.
Victor Manuel Silva.
Holly Lynn Chartier, summa cum laude.
Mercier Andre Ureta.
Joanna Elizabeth Thomason, Kellogg Honors.
Claudia Joanna Maldonado.
Payam Gavan Sadri,
Angelita Portales,
Maxwell Tate McAllister, summa cum laude.
Stephanie Sofia Vitella,
Daniela Yurovsky,
Michelle Lopez,
Christine Rasman Mitchell,
Nareda Solorzano,
Crystal Angelica Gonzalez,
Violeta Villagomez,
Ashley Marina Serrato,
Carla Nicole Ayala,
Rebecca Nicole Espinosa, Stephanie Rose Lopez,
and that completes the awarding degree of Bachelor of Arts in English and Foreign Languages. We will now begin the awarding degree for Bachelor of Science in Geography and Anthropology. Mariah Rose McFadden Fowler,
Mia Nicole Yakupchik, cum laude,
Paola Lizeth Cazada,
Carla Espinosa,
Alina Landa,
Autumn Lisa Bowman,
Stephanie Paulette Telez,
Kayla Lynn Patterson, magna cum laude,
Natalie Marin Castro,
Rosanna Guerrero Garcia,
Sarah Yolanda Delgado,
Lindsay Ann Dean, cum laude,
Claire Mariana Ito,
Arlette Joanna Carmona,
John Thomas Olson,
Lauren Ashley Macias,
Amanda Lynn Smith,
Nayeli Sanchez,
Megan Beth Cruz,
Zainab Akalif,
Andrew Castillo,
Sun Min Choi,
Brighton Bruno,
Monson Nishon Johnson,
Benjamin Tobia,
Brianna Lee Miller,
Linnell Elliott Williams II,
Ashanti Michelle Young,
Stella Rose Rosito Martinez Rockin,
Valerie Lynette Urkesy,
Angela Chiemi Aliana Yoza, cum laude, Patricia Ramos,
Tenny Chaharbash,
Melanie Guerrero, Maritza Zaragoza, John Oliver Holtgreff, Mark Anthony Suarez, Pearson Alexander Ure, Ethan Ross Balagopolan, Jeffrey Daniel Nelson, Daniel Travis Eck, Candace Nicole Carrasco, Tiana Sam Maiden, Andrea Hernandez, Marissa Ray Valencia, cum laude, Emily Ruiz, Katrina Macy Jimenez, Charles Bula, Jasmine Natalie Dominguez, Eduardo Ray Aguilar, Alejandro Irizar, Jasenia C. Hernandez, magna cum laude, McNair Scholar. And this completes the awarding degree of Bachelor of Science in Geography and Anthropology. We will now begin the awarding degree Bachelor of Arts in History. Patrick McLaughlin,
Matthew Craig Esqueda,
Johnny Ville,
Jerome Alexander Gustillo,
Chloe Wong,
Victor Michael Elias,
Christopher White,
Catherine Victoria Ochoa,
Guillermo Rivas,
Mitchell Nalian,
Nancy Gomez,
Jason James Lane,
Vincent L. Acuna,
Nicole Sherry Marone, cum laude,
Rianfo Dario Hoyas,
Matthew Spagan,
Jess Patrick Kelly,
David Aaron Dorantes,
Nadia Severa Cristianto,
Nicholas James Smaldridge, magna cum laude,
Barbara Fritz,
Michael Garrett Hammond,
Sheena Santos,
Charles Lycon Ting,
Caitlin Marie Ramirez,
John Fu,
Antonio de Jesus Santos,
Emily Ellen Wooten, magna cum laude,
Eric Garcia,
Magno Perez,
Tim Garcia,
Vincent Joshua Gonzalez,
David Rene Ramirez,
Adrian Danielle Jaime, McNair Scholar,
Francois Dominic Choi,
Edwin Salazar, magna cum laude,
Caitlin Rihanna White, Megan Rose Traub, Nicole Aaron Lepich, Caitlin Monet Gano. And this completes the awarding of the degree Bachelor of Arts in History. We will now begin the awarding of the degree Bachelor of Arts in Music. Kevin James Gassio, magna cum laude.
Milena Sofia Tonis, summa cum laude,
Daniel Stephen Lopez,
Ryan Henry Limahelu,
Ryan James Teagues,
Jonathan Lyle Gould, magna cum laude,
Kurt Lars Swade,
Amy Elizabeth Schleusner,
Braden Charles Wiggins,
Violet Flores Basurto,
Jacob Allen Cook, magna cum laude.
George Lewis III,
Samuel Willem Smiley, cum laude, Kellogg Honor Scholar.
Alacia Miranda Belt,
Nicholas Joseph Metcher, cum laude.
Nicole Arianes Escamilla,
John Lars,
Isaac Gomez,
Margarita Alicia Garcia,
Lucio Venegas,
Brittany Ann Morris,
Christina Morgan Rutz,
Krista Marie Hunt,
Jonathan Andrew Lopez,
John Allen Bender,
Elise Tollins,
Jordan Phillips, Alex Castro Solis,
Yamir Lisette Ariola,
Carlos Garcia,
Alex Walid Sacker,
Christopher Tran,
Tyler Daniel Busque, cum laude,
Cesar Eduardo Ayala,
Christopher Rubalcava,
Brandon Vasquez,
Fadi Abuzainen,
Joshua Carrillo,
Daniel Jun, Luis Emilio Garcia,
and this completes the awarding of the degree Bachelor of Arts in Music. We will now begin the awarding of the degree Bachelor of Arts in Philosophy. Maria Elizabeth Maskey, cum laude. Marissa Margaret Della Torre. Andrea Teresa Nelson. Adam Maurice Bentley, cum laude. Pedro Felipe Gonzalez. Justin Peebles. Matthew Mendoza. Karen Rose Lee. Nathaniel Joseph Farraco. Matthew Alexander June. Ramon Aguayo. Antonio Enrique Felipe. Oscar Rios. Maria Victoria Sarmiento. Ryan Alexander Acosta. And this completes the awarding degree for Bachelor of Arts in Philosophy. We will now begin the awarding degree for Bachelor of Arts in Science, Technology, and Society. Falikshir Ali Hamid. Aaron Chen. And that completes the awarding degree for the Bachelor of Arts in Science, Technology, and Society. We will now begin the awarding degree for the Bachelor of Science in Political Science. Stephen Nathan Jr. Tinsley, magna cum laude.
Peter Fong Tran, summa cum laude.
Justine Tran.
Peter Anthony Gilmore.
Adriana Santa Cruz.
Christine Ganemian.
Francisco Daniel Galan.
Jennifer Marieli Bermudez.
Miriam Quezada.
Vladimir Nathaniel Aguilar.
David Chang.
Brianna Colasar Baker.
Alexis Isabella Cedeno.
Joseph Shishadi, magna cum laude.
Aram Basmajan.
Travis William Barrett, summa cum laude, President's Council Scholar.
Karapet Boyajan.
Thomas Marcel Orona.
Mary Ashley Atwood Cherney, magna cum laude.
Roberto Villagomez.
Bernie Orantes.
Samir Warutker.
Eduardo Vasquez.
Natalie Renee Reyes.
Jasmine Correa.
Brianna Alice Kemp.
Israel Orozco. Isaac Daniel Magdaleno. Christopher A. Arenas.
Drew Allen Wallach.
Madeline Cortez Lee.
Alexis Jordan Ojinaga.
Melissa Peterson, magna cum laude.
Aaron James Turner.
Napatira Dixon. Christian Annalise Williams.
Kevin Lynn.
Nafisa Ahmed, summa cum laude.
Selena Renee Sendejas.
Brian Luque.
Angelica P. Lopez. Danielle Andrea Perel. Omar Goswami. Elena Ruiz Ramirez. Jessica Tan Nguyen. Eric Alexander Moran. Mitchell Gonzalo Loera. Nam Hee Kyang. Jose Alberto Contreras, magna cum laude. Rima Hagar. Balki Begum Behan, summa cum laude. Stephanie Diana Baeza. William Acosta. Ashley Quirarte. Griffin Christensen. Jonathan Joshua Heredia. Michael Fong. Amir Elali.
And this completes the award of the degree for Bachelor of Arts in Political Science. We will now begin the award of the degree for Bachelor of Arts in Psychology and Sociology. Brian Joe Baltazar.
Jordan Michael Faison.
Jasmine Gonzalez.
Diane Sun Young An.
Stephanie Mendoza.
Alicia Gloria Villagrana.
Jorge Marcos Ventura.
Sarah Elizabeth Fuentes.
Jessica Pina.
Cache Penamon.
Shannon Chang.
Carissa Farrell.
Humberto Miguel Garcia.
Janae Anise Williams.
Kimberly Samantha Limos. Catherine Elizabeth Alizo, magna cum laude. Carrie Akemi Koyoda, cum laude.
Kristen Bradley.
Maxine Page Casillas.
Madison Lynch.
Jasmine Maria Forrest. Mirna Araceli Nahera.
Marissa Rodriguez, cum laude.
Karina Luis Anderson, summa cum laude.
Barry Bernard Bell III.
Mira El Radi.
Sekani Robinson, McNair Scholar.
Lourdes Cabezas.
Dominic Rodriguez Lozano, summa cum laude, Kellogg Scholar, McNair Scholar.
Lizette Cuevas. Farah Song.
Jolie Kwanayan Savage.
Mariah Nicole Decker. Nicholas Flor Delis.
Bria Janae Edwards.
Vanessa Pedraza. Lizeth Perez, summa cum laude.
Erica Flores.
Elsie Melchor, magna cum laude.
Tanya Alejandra Arevalo.
Vincent Nicholas Fuentes.
Cynthia Jacqueline Ochoa.
Sandra Salcedo Martinez.
Yvette Martinez.
Charlotte K. Lorenzo.
Jasmine Denise Canela Vasquez.
Tracy M. Akaway.
Jocelyn Diaz, cum laude.
Diamond Rich William. Abigail Baena, magna cum laude.
Sonia Carlos.
Samuel Adam Orona. Diana Isabel Cardenas.
Kathleen Yanez.
Felicia Sally Avala.
Marcos Donovan Santos.
Scott Michael Dillon.
Jessica Marina Davila.
2 Ann Wynn.
Jordan Anthony Bell.
Anna Gonzalez McNair Scholar. Andre Herete.
Aaron Matthew Calderon, cum laude.
Sarah Shia, magna cum laude. Tanya Vargas.
Allison Nicole Centeno.
Marcella Elaine Monzon.
Valerie Nicole Moore, cum laude.
Haley Alexandra Berman, magna cum laude.
Natalie Flores Rodriguez, cum laude.
Darlene Flores.
Destiny Yvonne Rodriguez.
Karina Jeanette Maynard.
Alexandra Rivas, cum laude, Kellogg Honors.
Laura Araceli Gasca. Arlene Christina Ibarra.
Oswaldo de Toro.
Josephine Marie Green.
Zelly Vivas.
Jonathan Castaneda. Elaine Chang.
Jennifer Maldonado.
Marquise Alexander Johnson.
Jonathan James Dean.
Augustina Alejandra Sepulveda. Melissa Talamontes.
Stephanie Leon.
Crystal Elizabeth Martinez.
Angelica Marina Leon.
Adrian Israel Gonzalez Garcia.
Alicia Ing.
Sage Zacharias Perez. Jessica Sherlane Silva.
Jessica May Yee, cum laude.
Lilibet Barreras.
Crystal Ewan.
Monica Bocanegra.
Brenda Chestnut Landeros.
Camelia Adam. Lucera Calderon.
Leah Ashley Ortiz.
Lauren Rano. Jessica Rodriguez.
Alma Libia Olivaria.
Michelle Alvarez.
Christian Damian.
Marisol Becerra. Brian Dance.
Michelle No.
Haley Jacqueline Majowski. Alice Musino.
Zanetta Chichester, cum laude.
Deborah Lynn Naal.
Cynthia Melendez.
Jasenia Tovar.
Neri Renee Cotton, cum laude.
Jared Dion James.
Audrey Elizabeth Ade, summa cum laude, McNair Scholar.
Jacqueline Christine Pantoja.
Jonathan Ricardo Romero, cum laude.
Paola Michelle Estrella. Catherine Emily Figueroa.
Amanda Lorraine Triay, magna cum laude.
Mark Alfonso Ascension Reyes.
Erica Barragan, cum laude.
David Saul Solano.
Jonisha Johnson.
David Andres Santania.
Daniel Alcala Cannon.
William Charles Nottingham.
Chantel Monique Ramirez.
Alexia Perez. Makoni Kaylee Lee.
Brianna May Hom.
Royal Chan.
Esther Sharp, magna cum laude.
Brian Dan Silva. Alexis Faith Perez.
Norma Veronica Alvarez.
Shishin Dang.
Liseth Preciado, cum laude.
Caroline Kiyoko Hirama.
Erin Elizabeth Alva.
Martina Velasco. Mizoho Melody Ogita.
Sean Daniel Porras, cum laude.
Jonathan Alejandro Rubio.
David Wang.
Paul Emil Rogo, magna cum laude. Christine Lynn Van Noordien.
Brendan Kwok.
Jordan Anthony Vargas.
Jorge Campos.
Jennifer Suzanne Hearn. Suzanne Aratoon.
Veronica Olivas.
Emilio Javier Medina, McNair Scholar.
Noemi Cuevas Carvajal.
Jessica Christina Galvan, summa cum laude, McNair Scholar.
Melissa Ann Placencia.
Princess Meg Ibaway, cum laude.
Rebecca Lynn James, summa cum laude.
Vanessa Boca Carl.
Monica Rodarte.
Jana U. Esquero, summa cum laude.
Amanda Inostros Vasquez.
Stephen Faya.
Melissa Saldana Alvarez.
Dominic Tiara Pepin.
Genesis Jasmine Aguirre.
Carissa Catherine English. Jimena Jaramillo, magna cum laude, President Council Scholar, McNair Scholar.
Jonathan Castillo.
Daniel Gomez, McNair Scholar.
Stacy Taylor Atwater.
Kevin Wong, magna cum laude.
Mary Beth Bukowski.
Stephen Lopez.
Ruby Fun, cum laude.
Aaron Matthew Cortez.
Tiffany Amy Trung.
Samantha Ashley Merlin. Jessica Clarabelle Esqueda. Olga Monic Juarez.
Sophia Pedrosa, summa cum laude, Kellogg Honor Scholar.
Isabella Perez, summa cum laude. Sofia Saucedo Flores.
Carissa Cespedes.
Denise Michelle Fritz.
Aubrey Fry.
Allison Grace Flicker. Amani Deshawn Raymond. Casey Leatherwood.
Taylor Giersbach.
Scarlett Santos Leon, cum laude.
Courtney May Walker.
Kevin Lewis Giesick. Kendall Noel Omagari, magna cum laude.
Freya Inchu Shu.
Anthony Philip Casas.
Nixon Yu.
Tony Israel Antonio Verduzco Jr.
Mara Hernandez.
Khalif Hall. Danae Mary Eliza Williams. Eddie Luis Lavana. Annie Law. Orlando Anthony Smith. Yaman Adnan Fajle. Christine Zadorian. Christine Marie Lopez. And that completes the award of the degree for Bachelor of Arts in Psychology and Sociology. We will now begin the award of the degree for Bachelor of Arts in Theater and New Dance. Emily Elizabeth Young.
Samantha Renee Gerard, summa cum laude, Kellogg Scholar.
Matthew David Brenniger.
Alejandro Jimenez.
Gabriela Lopez, cum laude.
Rachel Lynn Catherine Hale, cum laude.
Nicholas Soto.
Joyce Wong.
Sarah Elizabeth Holguin, summa cum laude.
Rebecca Ramirez.
Ashley Doratello. Delfina Barrios.
Ashley Natrice Tripp. Christine Zachary.
And that completes the award of the degree for the Bachelor of Arts in Theater and New Dance.
Will the entire class of 2016 please rise? Please be seated. This is just wonderful. It's been my pleasure to preside over the 2016 commencement for the College of Letters, Arts, and Social Sciences. I would ask that the audience please remain seated during the recessional. At the end of the stage party recessional, our commencement will formally be completed. Thank you so much for being with us.